This evening, we have one general interest delegation, and that is Loeffler. And Anne, you will have 7 minutes. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Salonen and members of council. My name is Anne Loeffler. I'm a retired conservation specialist and professional agrologist, and I spent my 30-year career in the Conservation Authority system. I'm here today as a concerned resident to raise awareness about a serious and ongoing issue, uncontrolled soil erosion occurring on region-owned land located on Bleams Road, the farm that the region bought last year as part of the broader Wilmot Land Assembly. While Wilmot Township does not own or manage this land, the effects of poor stewardship are already being felt within the township, impacting infrastructure and potentially affecting residents. As you will recall, during due diligence for the land purchase, the region hired a contractor to destroy a standing corn crop. That contractor repeatedly tilled the land, leaving it bare and shattered and highly vulnerable to erosion. Last November, I warned Regional Council of the potential for serious soil erosion and recommended specific best management practices to help mitigate the risk. Unfortunately, no erosion control measures were implemented by the region. Next slide, please. This slide shows the aerial view of the site. The red polygon outlines the region-owned parcel. 4 catch basins lie on the property line between the region's farm and the adjacent farm. Surface flow is to the southwest, or the lower left of the map. Since this photo was taken, the open creek at Bleams Road has been converted to a closed drain. However, the flow of water and sediment still follows the same path towards the local stream. Next slide, please. In early April, I walked back across the neighboring farm to view the region's farm from across the fence line. I observed that the entire 160-acre farm was barren, with almost no living or dead plant material left to protect the soil. Significant erosion was visible from across the fence line. Large silt deposits had accumulated near the catch basins. It's clear that active erosion is occurring during heavy rain events. Sediment-laden runoff is entering the catch basins that feed into a closed municipal drain installed in late 2023. This runoff eventually reaches a tributary of the Nith River, which feeds the Grand River, drinking water source for over 100,000 people downstream, including Brantford and Six Nations. There was visible sediment deposition on neighboring farmland in the floodplain over the municipal tile. This might seem like a farmland management issue confined to the region's property, but unfortunately, the consequences don't stop at the property line. Next slide, please. The land in question drains into the Snyder Municipal Drain. This system is partially a closed drain that transitions into an open channel downstream of Bleams Road. It is maintained by the township. The red dot shows the location of the newest catch basin installed in 2023. With erosion ongoing, sediment is accumulating in the catch basins and the pipes. This results in reduced drainage efficiency, elevated flood risk for adjacent properties, and increased maintenance costs, some of which are ultimately borne by township taxpayers. In short, while the region owns the source property, the infrastructure being affected immediately downstream belongs to Wilmot. And beyond local infrastructure, the sediment continues downstream into the Grand River system, threatening drinking water quality for downstream communities. The longer this goes unaddressed, the greater the cumulative risk to public health and environment. Upstream land stewardship is crucial to the protection of downstream users, some of whom live right in Wilmot. Next slide, please. This is another photo of the region-owned farm on Bleams Road. So to be clear, this is not a normal amount of soil erosion. This is absolutely appalling. This is what happens when the soil gets pulverized by repeated tillage and is then left without protective cover. In my 30-year career as a conservation specialist, this is easily the worst erosion I have seen on flat land. And remember, what you see here is soil left behind. We don't know exactly how many tons of soil were washed into the watercourse, but we know it was a substantial loss. So what can Wilmot Township do? To be clear, I am not asking this council to assume responsibility for land it doesn't own. But I am asking you to take 3 reasonable and practical steps regarding this site. 1, formally notify the region of Waterloo about the impacts this erosion is having on township infrastructure, specifically municipal drains. 2, request a timeline for remedial action from the region, including erosion control and sediment containment. And 3, advocate for responsible interim land management on all region-owned farms, region-owned lands, especially those lands that are in transition and lie near shared infrastructure. So this is not just about soil. It's about standing up for our township's infrastructure, water quality, and fiscal responsibility. I hope you'll agree that while the region owns the land, the costs, both financial and environmental, are being shared. And for that reason, I hope you'll consider raising this issue with the region directly. Before I conclude, I want to raise a concern about 2 additional farms that the region has recently gained control of as part of the Wilmot Land Assembly. Both of these properties are bisected by Baden Creek or its tributary. The region may soon begin conducting due diligence and archaeological assessments on these farms. If they apply the same land management approach used on the first Bleams Road property, doing intensive tillage and leaving soil exposed without erosion controls, there is real and immediate danger of sediment runoff directly entering Baden Creek. That would not only harm aquatic habitat, it also undermines the health of the Nith River system that so many residents value for its environmental and recreational importance, in addition, of course, to being a drinking water source. I urge the township to be proactive in requesting that proper soil stabilization and erosion control measures are in place before any ground is disturbed on these 2 new properties. We cannot afford a repeat of what happened on the farm the region purchased last year. Thank you for your time. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Anne, and I think you came in with like 2 seconds to spare, so very well done. And thank you. I know that you also came and spoke to us at the region, and I really appreciate you highlighting in particular those 3 items. As you are aware, the region is now notified, but the timeline for action and advocating not just for this property, but for regional, I will be sure myself at least certainly to take that back. But councillors, are there any questions for our delegate? Councillor Cressman?
Yes. Through you, Mayor, and you and I have been working on land or soil erosion and trying to convince owners and people who are working with the properties to take best management practices and to prevent it. And I appreciate your presentation this evening. And I was appalled when I saw some of these photos as well.
Any other questions or comments, councillors? Councillor Wilkinson?
Through the chair, not a question for the delegate, but thank you. More so, may I ask a question of our directors on this topic?
Yes, I will just preface that we are not the ones who manage.
I agree, we are not
facility,
we are not the ones who manage it.
I will let you ask your question. Yes.
Thank you. So through the chair, it is related to obviously our own infrastructure. So to Director Molyneux, have there been steps taken or measures put in place to suggest that we need the region to potentially help protect our infrastructure as a result of this?
Through you, Mayor, I would suggest that this is one of the first times that it's been tabled with myself. So as far as connecting with the region, we have not done that to date. In terms of the extent of what we're seeing tonight, that's something we can probably do at the staff level as well. But at this point, we have not connected with them.
Any other questions or comments, councillors? Okay, seeing none, thank you again very much for joining us.
Thank you for your time.
So now, councillors, we will jump back to item 7.1.